Have you ever wanted to create fast, dynamic PowerPoint slides using Excel, data, and VBA? Hi, this is Randy with Excel for Freelancers, and in today's VBA basic training, I'm going to walk you step by step on how you can quickly and easily create unlimited slides at just a click of a button using Excel data and VBA. It's going to be a great training. I cannot wait. So let's get started. All right, great to have you here. Super excited to bring this training to you. I'm going to show you how you can quickly and easily create dynamic, fully editable, beautiful slides in PowerPoint using Excel data and using VBA with just a few lines of code. You're going to be able to create PowerPoint slides just like this very, very easily. So we're going to get right to it. I'll be creating some code and we'll be creating it step by step with you. So don't worry. If you've never used VBA before, it's not a problem. I'm going to walk you step by step through all of the code. If you do want this template and all of the code, I'll make sure that that is available to you using the links below. If you're on YouTube, look at the description. Under that, you're going to find the word download, and that is where you're going to find a link to get this template absolutely for free. If you're on my website, just look for the word download in a button. All right, so basically what we want to do is I want to show you how you can use the power of VBA to create one or many slides and pretty much with unlimited text. So we're going to get into it, but the first thing we want to do is get into VBA, and that's going to be important. I'm going to show you two macros, the first of which is simply just how to create a slide or any slide using a few lines of VBA code. Next up, we'll be generating data using a really cool tool, and we're going to then create a slideshow with that, and it'll generate in a matter of seconds. So what we're going to do is first get into VBA. Now to do that, you want to make sure the developer tab is available to you. And if it's not, no problem. You can right click on any menu here and just click customize the ribbon. Now, once you have this available, you'll see the Excel options. You want to just make sure that the developer is selected. Once it is selected, you're going to see this menu. It will be available. You can click on Visual Basic here, and that will get you into the Visual Basic, and it's going to be something like this. If for any reason you don't see the project here, all you need to do is just click on the Project Explorer, and that will be available to you. Now, you can also use Alt F11 as a shortcut to get in. Once you're here, we need to pretty much put some code somewhere, and that's going to happen inside a module. So I'm going to click Insert and Module, and this is where we're going to write our code. While it's not required, it's always a good idea to name your modules. So we're going to do that through the properties, or using F4 as a shortcut. Here, what we're going to do is we're just going to write something like PPT macros. We're going to give it a simple name. This way, larger projects that have many modules, you'll be able to know exactly what's in it. Now, because we're going to be working directly with PowerPoint, what we want to do to make things easier on us is create a direct reference. Basically, we need VBA to talk directly to PowerPoint. And we do that through a reference library. So what you want to do is most likely you will not have a reference library on a project, but you can easily add it. And once it's added, it will stay forever with that project. So tools, we're going to go into this menu and we're going to look at references. And now what you're going to do, it's going to open up this references, and you're going to then scroll down for something called Microsoft PowerPoint. So if we take a look here, we're going to look for a very specific one called Microsoft PowerPoint Library. This is the one we want. Now, if you were using different versions of Excel, that 16 might be a different number, but that's okay. Any PowerPoint object library will be sufficient. We're going to select that. And what that's going to do, it's going to allow us to connect directly to PowerPoint using VBA. So the first macro, what I want to do is I just want to create a quick slide. So what we're going to do is we're going to write in sub, and then we'll just do quick slide. So this is going to be a subroutine to create a single slide. And to do that, I want to dimension some variables. PowerPoint app, and we want to create as a new, and then we'll do PowerPoint. So notice PowerPoint comes up right automatically. This is because we've added the reference library. And I want to create an application. So this is going to let us create that PowerPoint application. We also want to create a presentation with that. So first is the application, then is the presentation. So we're going to dimension here our PowerPoint presentation. So we'll call that PPT and then presentation. That's our variable as a PowerPoint. Next up, I want to do the presentation. So that's the presentation. So that's it. So we also now want to set that variable. So we're going to do just that. This is going to create the instance. So we're going to set the PowerPoint here, and then our presentation is going to be equal to, and then we'll do the PowerPoint app. And then what we want to do is we want to create a presentations and then add. So we're basically adding that presentation. That will create that for us. Once we have that, we're going to focus just on that individual presentation. So we're going to use the with variable here, and we're going to do PowerPoint PPT presentation. And I want to create a slide. So we're going to look into here, slides. And then what I want to do is I want to add one slide. So we're going to use add a slide. And then we're going to add one slide. So we're going to add that first index and we're also going to set our PP layout. So our PP layout is simply going to be our title. So we just want to set the title. So we're going to set layout title. Okay, so that's the one we're going to use. Now with that title, what I want to do is I want to set a shape inside that. We're going to use the first one. It's going to be the index. And I want to set the text frame on that. And it's going to be the text range and text. So we're setting a text for our title. We're just going to say something like title from Excel. So that's going to be our main title. We can also add a subtitle with another shape. So this one's going to be shape number 2. We're going to set the text on that. So the text frame and the range and the text is going to be our subtitle. So we'll say this is our subtitle. So once we have that, we're good to go with the end with. We can exit out of that. Now we simply just matter of displaying it. So PPT app dot, and we want it visible. It's going to equal to true. So that's all we need to do. Now all we need to do is simply run our macro, and that's going to create our PowerPoint slide. So it's going to open up PowerPoint, it's going to create a slide, and it's going to set both of the text. And so here we see we've got a title from Excel, and this is our subtitle. So it's worked just perfectly. It's created it for us with a simple macro. Now what we want to do is I want to actually use the power of Excel and also grab some data. In fact, we're going to use my AI tool pack to get some really cool data. I'm going to use this text here, generate text for PowerPoint slides. Let's fix that PowerPoint slide that contains a subject and text in 2 columns on the benefits of the living in Southeast Asia. So let's do 10 slides. Let's do generate PowerPoints 10 slides. Now inside these slides, what we're going to do is I want the title and a text. So I'm going to simply use my AI tool pack, which actually has 12 cool features. One of them is to get real data, meaning all I need to do is make my request, select this and click get real data. In just a matter of seconds, it's going to be here. So now we have our text here, and now we're simply going to write a macro that's going to loop through these rows and add that to individual slides. So let's go ahead and do that with one macro. I want to assign that to a button. So to do that, I'm going to insert a shape, and I'm going to just use a square shape, and we can just write it right about here or anywhere. And basically we're just going to say generate PowerPoint. So generate PowerPoint presentation. Very good. So we've got our button here, and that's going to do it just for us. So we don't need to do much else. We can format it if we want, and then we can just increase the font to make it look nice. But that is secondary to creating the macro which we want to do. Okay, so once we've got that done, we are going to go back into VBA and we're going to write our macro. And here in this one, we're going to say sub, and then we'll do generate, and then 10 slides. So we're going to generate 10 slides with this. And so we see we have rows. So we have these rows all the way through 18, 10 slides here, and we're going to do that from rows 9 to 18. So let's go ahead and write a macro to do just that. Inside this macro, we're going to use the same variables for PowerPoint. So we simply need to copy them from the original macro and paste them in there. We are going to need some additional variables. We want to know variables for the text, and I also want to keep track of the row that we're on, and we also need to keep track of the number of slides. To do that, we'll create some additional variables that we're going to dimension. So I want to dimension the text row. That's going to be a long variable, as long. I also want to know the slide position, so I want to know which one. That's going to be also a long variable. Also, what we want to do is we want to, once again, we're going to set the PowerPoint just as we did before, so we can copy that. Once again, we're going to set the PowerPoint presentation. We're simply going to be adding a new one. Once we do that, we can focus on that. We also need to make sure that it is visible. So we're going to copy and paste that there, making sure it's visible. I want to set the initial slide position. We're going to increment that, but let's set the initial one. So the slide position is going to be equal to 1. Set initial slide position. Once we have the initial one, we're then going to create our loop. Now let's take a look at the loop. We do have a variable called text row, and this variable is going to loop through all of our rows. So it's going to be all the way from 9 through 18. So we need to create a loop from 9 to 18. We'll do that through using a for next loop. For text row is equal to 9 to 18, and we want to close our loop. So once again, next text row. Once we have that set, we are then going to focus on those individual slides. We are going to then create them and add the appropriate text. So to do that, we are going to focus on just as we did before, like this. So we're going to do something just like this, focusing on with the PowerPoint slides. We're going to add, and we're going to use a layout. But instead of the slide position being 1, we are going to make that variable. So that's going to be our slide position. And of course, once we write a width, we must use an end width. So here we're going to use end width. Inside that, we're going to focus just like we did before. So I'm simply going to copy what we've done here. It's going to make it a lot easier, but it's going to be a little bit dynamic. So the first shape that we want to create is going to be the text range 2. However, the text is going to be dynamic. We have it based on sheet 1. So we're going to use sheet 1.range. And what column do we want to focus on? So we're going to focus on column D. That is where our titles are going to come from. So it's going to start at a D9. So we're going to set the range D and of course our text row, which starts on row 9, .value. The next one is simply going to be our subtitle or subtext, and that is going to come from column E. So all we need to do is copy this and then change it to E. So this is our heading. And this is our subtext. So we can do subtext. Once we have that, we are pretty much good to go. We do need to increment the slide position. If we remember, the slide position must increase for each individual one. So the slide position is equal to the slide position plus 1. We're going to increment slide position. And now we've done it. We just need to add a message box. Message box 10 slides have been created. Okay, so that's completion. Let's go ahead and take a look. We can assign our work. Now, we really don't need the formatting here, so I'm just going to put in without formatting, and then we'll reset it. We really don't need that. It's not going to help because we can do that ourselves. So now all I need to do is just go into the AI tool pack, and we're just going to get real data, and now it'll be excluded. So now we've got, this is going to work just fine. Great. So we see how we don't need the slide number in there, so we can delete that. And we're good to go. So we got columns D and E. We don't need a button this big here, so we can let that go. And then we'll right click it and assign the macro here. Once we do that, we're going to select generate 10 slides, and we can save our work. And now we're simply going to generate the PowerPoint. What that's going to do, it's going to automatically create a PowerPoint with everything that we need. So we have all of our 10 slides. Great. So now we've got 10 slides, but it's a little bit boring looking. So all we need to do is just go into the design suggestions. That's going to use AI to give us some suggestions, and we can now just simply select on whatever we want here. And each individual one, we can set a little video, which is quite nice. So here we've got really awesome slideshow in just a little bit of time. Here we can create that from VBA. So it's really amazing. So within literally minutes, we've actually not only created a slideshow using Excel VBA, but we've been able to generate data very, very handy. So I hope you have enjoyed this training just as much as I have enjoyed bringing it to you. I've shown you how you can use just a few lines of VBA code along with an incredible AI tool pack. I hope you do grab this. I've got 12 different features in this AI tool pack, including an assistant, fix my formula, can explain any formula or even optimize a formula. When it comes to code, you can actually have it write code, optimize code, or even fix code. Getting fake data and real data inside Excel has never been easier. We've got one-click insights for any dashboard. We've got some really cool functions, a list down, a chat GPT function, and along with GPT support. So that's all in the AI tool pack. I hope you'll grab that. Thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll see you next week.